Nigerian judiciary must remain isolated from the chaos in Rivers State rather than being co-opted as a tool for legitimizing criminality. Now, this was the position of a group tagged Progressive Yoruba Youth Congress while speaking in Lagos on the theme Between Wike and Democracy, what Asiwaju should do to save Nigeria. Spokesperson for the group, Akintunde Adedeji, alongside others, appealed to President Tinubu to call Nyesom Wike to order by insisting that he focuses on his current assignment as the FCT minister, a role the group claimed he has neglected.
Being conscientious Yoruba with the highest degree of no heritage, President Tinubu will not show such an example to us, the youth of the Yoruba nation. We are too civilized to embark on actions that will jeopardize no Nigerians, no nationhood. The lies that Wike has sold to the 27 former lawmakers are so flat because attaining what they are trying to do will sink democracy in Rivers State and destroy it in Nigeria as a whole.
To face what he has gone to do in Abuja and not to start acting godfatherism when there's nothing to act on. Gone are those days where godfathers thrive. It's an old school thing. Now eyes have opened, ears are wide, Nigerians can see beyond their nose.
Now, to further discuss this, I'm being joined in the studio by a political and public affairs analyst, Jide Johnson, and also via Zoom, I have joining me rights activist Declan Ihekaire. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on the news.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Good morning, Jide.
Yeah.
Now, let me begin with you. Now, there are lots of concerns about why the president is wading into a PDP crisis, considering that he is with the APC, and why the PDP stalwarts actually quiet concerning this particular impasse in Rivers State. Now, taking a deep dive into the resolutions that have actually come forth and what should be done to restore peace in Rivers State between, the PDP, that's Nyesom Wike and Fubara. How mutually beneficial is this for both the APC and the PDP? That's talking about the resolutions now.
Well, the PDP in Rivers State is not PDP. It's an amorphous party in the sense that it's what you call PDP-APC. You knew quite all right where Wike threw all his eggs in the presidential election and how he prevented even PDP from campaigning. So whatever arrangement you have, it's just PDP by the day and APC by the night. That's the arrangement you have in Rivers State. So that's the lens. It's the lens through which you should look at it. In terms of the agreement, I don't know where the constitutional mandate came from. You know, this particular administration and people that are apologists of this administration, they are fond of singing on your mandate we stand, and I don't know where this mandate came from, whether it's a constitutional mandate or a political mandate, that such directive will be issued under which constitutional provisions, under which guise, when matters are already in courts, when seats have been declared vacant, whether legally or illegally, you allow the court process to determine that. It's a constitutional democracy. And the question you also need to ask yourself is that how quickly did the presidency intervene in this particular matter of Rivers State, and that of Ondo State lingered for more than 6 months, and there was not that kind of transparency with the type of agreement or the speed of light with which this issue was treated with. As we speak, nobody saw the agreement that was written concerning Ondo State when the meeting was held with the president. But before you say Jack Robinson, everybody saw, even NTA published an agreement that is meant to be an issue of national security. Because if there is no peace in actual sense in Rivers State, it will threaten the national security of the country. But if you want to solve the problem, not this kind of manner of approach that you have rendered the governor useless. You know, who is giving the governor directive? The governor is elected that he cannot dissolve. And you recall people giving this directive. When they were governor, they operated as an executive governor. Now they want to have a rubber stamp governor.
All right, let me move to Declan now. Declan, now a lot of people seem to think that this resolution, you know, serves the interest of the APC rather than the PDP. Now, what are your thoughts on the president's involvement, and are we likely to see an end to this crisis with the resolutions? Hello, Declan, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
But can you hear me now? All right, Jide, let's definitely come back to you. Now, what can you say, to what extent can this particular resolution of the crisis heal the divisions and also shape the political landscape in Rivers State in the long term? You did talk about, you know, them being, during their time, the executive governors and now wanting a rubber stamp governor.
Yeah, well, the political landscape of Rivers is changed forever. Dimensions which were never part and parcel of Rivers State politics has come to play. I saw this coming. I've shared this with my students. If you go to my Twitter and you see, because this is the first time you see that the governor will go the ethnic dimensions you have never seen in Rivers State with respect to upland versus riverine area kind of politics that you have in other parts of the country has really played up. You know, this is the first time that the governor will be coming from the riverine area, while most of the governors have come. And it has to do, and then if you look at the dynamics of Rivers State politics, it was Saudi that made Amechi. He remained silent. He allowed Amechi to. It was Amechi, whatever Wike likes to say, it was Amechi that made Wike who he is, and then subsequently, Patience Jonathan played a critical role in Amechi becoming a governor. What role did Patience play in his administration? So if Wike should play a role in Fubara becoming the governor, she don't have an overbearing influence over the governor in allowing the governor to. I've always asked this question, even when Wike was the governor, he operated as an emperor. Who knew any other political gladiator in Rivers State? Can you mention the Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly? Who even knew the deputy governor of Rivers State at that particular point in time? So what we have seen and what we are seeing is not about 2020, it's about 2027. It's about 2027. You see, when citizens looked at election as being far away, politicians look at election as being very, very close by. So what is playing out now, it's about the control. You know, even Wike himself said it's about structure. You can't you can't destroy the political structure. Which structure does he have? That structure was owned by Odili, was transferred to Amechi. From Amechi, when Amechi decamped to APC, Wike inherited the structure. That structure was built. So if he's talking about it, it's even not the leader should claim that I own that particular political structure. But the man maintained a dignified silence and allow his successors to continue. And that's the approach Wike should adopt. But being who he is, if a sitting governor then could stop a political party from coming to campaign legitimately, provided for in the Constitution, you can imagine what kind of unconstitutional act such character will put up.
Okay, let me just quickly ask the question that I asked Declan while, you know, we tried to connect with him about this particular resolution serving the APC interest. Now, you did say earlier that, you know, the political party in Rivers State is like, you know, APC, PDP. It's quite confusing. So this particular resolution seems to serve the interest of the APC in Rivers State. Just quickly share your thoughts.
If the governor signed on to this, he has signed his death knell. Because basically, look at the people that superintend over that meeting: the National Security Advisor, the President, and the Chief of Staff. The Chief of Staff that we saw footage of Wike opening the door for somebody coming in into. So you understand, politics is about interest. It's about enlightening self-interest. And as far as those gladiators are concerned, what type of interest do you think they will protect? From what we have seen, was the interest of the governor protected, or was the interest of those that are on Wike's side protected. If the governor should accept to this, it's just a matter of time. By the time they reinstate or they've asked them to reinstate, I'm telling you that once the House sits and they impeach him, they will say it's a constitutional matter, and then nobody can stop because that's when you see that the IWA politics will take its effect. Then the president will say, you know what, the issue is before the House. That's the legitimate House. Allow the House to do whatever they want to do, and the rest will be history. Just like Ladoja was removed, just like Alamasian was removed, and just like some other governors have been impeached through not due process. That's how this governor will be impeached.
All right, so let's reconnect with Declan. Declan, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
All right, so now, Declan, with the agreement signed by both parties, I'm talking about Nyesom Wike and Fubara, how can the affected parties find a common ground to reconcile their differences and also work towards a shared vision of Rivers State?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll start this way by singing Fela's song. No agreement today, no agreement tomorrow, and that is the bitter truth. We have got to the level of our democracy where presidential intervention is superseding judicial interpretation. And once a country gets to that level, it's gradually shifting to a banana island. Don't forget, the president was elected as an executive president. So also Fubara was elected as an executive governor. And so the president represents the entire Nigeria, while Fubara represents the entire Rivers State. And so the same power that Mr. President has over the nation is what Fubara has over the state. And so you find out now that what has happened in Rivers State as of today is...
All right, well, we just lost Declan there. Let me come back to Jide just before we go. Now, a lot of people have actually complained over time of how politicians, you know, make it look as if them being in power is their birthright. And instead of them, you know, working for the people, you know, they see it as their birthright. Now, I really want you to tell us, in what ways, looking at the political crisis in Rivers State, because this is actually, you know, it's been going on for so long, how can this particular crisis be seen as a test for Nigeria's democratic governance and institutions?
We have a constitutional republic, and the constitutional republic talks about the roles and responsibility of various institutions and organs of government. And this type of situation, this is where you require the judiciary to play a critical role to make critical interpretations of, but we are in a situation whereby we have state captured in the sense that some institutions of the state have been taken over by different types of interest group. While we are growing up, you don't see judges. That's why if you see the symbol of the judiciary is the lady justice whose eyes covered. Judges are meant to be heard and not to be seen. But we have a situation, even when they were delivering the judgment for the presidential election, you know, it was voices we are hearing. They didn't even show us the face. But we have gotten to a situation whereby judges are 10 parties. They are 10 parties. They fraternize with political gladiators. As a result of that, they can't play the independent role of trying to maintain the constitutional republic which we have with respect to democracy which we are practicing. In such situation, because both parties actually have engaged in level of impunity, and that's what has characterized our democracy from 1999 till date. And if we really want to address that, we need to allow the institution of the state and the judiciary as a critical role to play, whether the 4 are right or whether the 27 is right. So all of this is where we require strong institution, but the situation whereby you have state capture, you can't. The crisis we first found, we have the one in Ondo, you have the one in Rivers. There's a looming one in Kogi State. It's just a matter of time with respect to, because the election is gone and we gloss over it, we now have been declared. The National Security Advisor did not call for the actors and players in the last election in Kogi State, whereby the petition that was submitted to INEC got missing, office of INEC got burned, and the rest of it. So you could see that we are cherry picking on issues to address, because it is more, governance have been personalized other than being institutionalized. And if people think that it will be there forever, today Odili is history, Amechi is history, Wike is history, Fubara too will be history, Buhari is history, Obasanjo is history. So the present occupier of the office of the president is just a matter of time. If he wins re-election in 2027, by 2030, it will become history. But the most important thing you leave behind, what are the legacies that you are leaving behind? Okay. That when you had that opportunity to superintend over a nation like Nigeria, in 50 years' time, what will people read about me? And nobody seems to care about that.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's just finalize this conversation with Declan. Declan, if you can hear me, can you wrap up by telling us briefly, in what ways does the political crisis in Rivers State be seen as a test of Nigeria's democratic governance?
Yeah, thank you so much. The guest there has spoken so much. What we have at hand now is a constitutional issue, but it's gradually going into a personal issue where Mr. President begins to intervene in issues where judiciary should have interpreted. You are aware that 27 legislators in Rivers State defected to APC, and by defecting, they have vacated their seats. And so if Mr. President really wants to be fair, he should have allowed the judiciary to take its course. I don't know how long Mr. President will keep on intervening, not allowing the judiciary to do its work, thereby covering up the constitutional rights of another arm of the government. I think it's getting gradually unfair to Nigerian people. It's unfair to our constitution. It's unfair to the judiciary that should have done the needful. Like I was saying earlier, Mr. Fubara, as the governor of Rivers State, he was elected as an executive governor, the same way Mr. President was elected as an executive president of this country. And so they have equal rights. And there's no basis for Mr. President to intervene in a state affair that has to be done legally, constitutionally. And if you really look at the way the memorandum of understanding was written, it was written to favor Wike entirely.
All right, Declan, sadly, you would actually have to wrap up there. It's actually sad that, you know, we didn't get to hear a lot from you, but hopefully we'll bring you back, you know, probably at a later time to discuss further on this. Thank you so much, Declan Ihekaire, a rights activist, for joining me in the studio, and also Jide Johnson, a political and public affairs analyst, for joining me as well.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.